All right, what's going on, people? It's Tuesday, September 28th, 8 a.m. my time. We got price of Bitcoin currently sitting at 42,000. We spoke about yesterday price breaking inside not only the 4-hour Bollinger Band, but the weekly open, and on top of that, the VWAP weekly right here. And this area right here is basically when we went short as a hedge on ADA. And this hedge 25K is about the account size that we have right now on the 5K challenge. So it's really a one-to-one hedge, but ADA being a higher beta asset that it is, I'm expecting more sharp movement down against, say, something like BTC. So if BTC goes down, I don't know, 5%, I expect ADA to go down maybe 7 to 10%. So that's one of the reasons why I picked ADA. And also, I don't much care for ADA. I think even from a technical standpoint, it has probably the best setup because here's kind of how I look at it. If you look at this range from 247 to 182, this is probably the cleanest area where ADA rejected that level at the high, 247, and is starting to roll down. So for me to enter ADA somewhere up here and aim for the downside, I'm expecting maybe a 15% drop. If it shoots down further, great. But I'm expecting a drop towards this area right here for ADA as a potential area for me to get out of my short position. Now, this being a hedge, I have to first see exactly how BTC is going to land, because one of my thoughts for the last several weeks was keep an eye on this weekly level, $38,200. I still believe that we're going to hit that weekly level. I don't know if we're going to right away bounce from it and start pushing higher, or if we're going to slowly bleed right into that level, keep rejecting that level and break down further. I really don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is from the moving average standpoint, from the weekly SR level standpoint, we're not really looking good. Here's a simple example of the 21 weekly EMA. This moving average has been very crucial for us for the last 4 years. Whenever price sits above that level and holds above that level, price tends to do really, really well. For example, here's a perfect area of 21 EMA. On April 27th weekly candle, once we broke above that level, we basically trended up in the market almost for a year and a half until we finally broke down past the 21 EMA right here, in which case we trended down in the market at least for 6 to 8 weeks right here. So I'm recognizing something odd is happening here. Again, there's still 5 days left in the weekly to go. So it's possible that maybe we drop right into 38,200 and then maybe pop back up. It is entirely possible. And I take that possibility as, I don't know, maybe 40 to 50% chance. But as of right now, the price does not look good. On a daily basis, it does not look good. On a 4-hour basis, it does not look good. We're breaking inside key levels like the weekly open, the 4-hour Bollinger Bands, even the 200-day moving average. You can kind of see we're now under the 200-day moving average. So all these things are stacking up and telling us to be cautious. And it is one of the reasons why we've put on this ADA hedge. So where do we go from here? Okay, a few important things that have happened since yesterday, our video, which is supposedly QCP Capital, they put out this alert talking about some massive player put on a bunch of ETH put options for October 8th. And these are some pretty large clips, as you could see. Okay, so clearly whoever this player is, either they're hedging for caution or they're outright just shorting because they know that the market is going to roll over probably in the next few days. And a majority of the clips, as you can see, are somewhere around 26, 2,800, some are 27, 2,500. So not really a good sign for ETH. But we also know, I pointed out this article from ARCA talking about BTC skew. Remember, skew is really nothing but the costliness of puts versus calls in the options world. And what you have in this area is a positive skew on the short-term futures contracts, okay? So you have short-term futures, short-term options, you can see right here for 25, on a 25-day skew for 1 week and 1 month, or actually here's 1 week, and this is 1 month right here. and here's 3-month and 6-month. So effectively, the put options right now are getting slightly more expensive on BTC, and you can see on ETH as well. Okay, the put options are getting expensive on ETH. So this kind of tells us that you got to be careful in the market and recognize that not only are technicals breaking down, but we're recognizing some unusual options activity like this positive skew that we're seeing, to maybe give us a little bit of caution. Now, again, Arca article says that when there's already so much negativity and uncertainty built into prices, it doesn't take that much to quickly reverse in the other direction. Meaning, if there's a lot of people already shorting or buying a lot of call options to the downside, maybe all we need to do is just have a pretty big green candle, just get everybody really bullish, and then this starts driving the market up because you have a lot of covers in the market. You have a lot of people probably closing out of those options by hedging to the long side, right? Any which way you cut it, all you really need is 1 or 2 big strong days to the upside. But where I remain cautious about that as a quick reversal is if you look on the stock market front, right? Here is the ES, which is the S&P 500 futures contract. You can see we're rejecting the 50 MA, which is this gold line right here, and we're rejecting this ascending trend line. Now, maybe that can change, I don't know, tomorrow, the day after, where we have a big pop. Who knows? Maybe even today, as the market opens, that might just be a wick to the downside and the candle closes up aggressively. It is entirely possible that all these things can happen today. But this is a pretty clean sign to me that we are rejecting these 2 key markers, the 50 MA and this ascending trend line. And it looks like we might start rolling over further. Okay, in which case, again, I expect that to be a drag on BTC, because what has been very clear as of late is Bitcoin is being very tightly correlated with the SPX or S&P 500 index, okay? And the other part of that is, if you kind of look at the dollar, right? Here's something that the dollar is doing, which we should be probably paying attention to, because as the dollar keeps gaining strength in this upward movement like this, where it keeps trending up higher and higher like this, right? This is quite possibly another way that is dragging the equity markets down, which in turn is dragging BTC down, which in turn is dragging, more than likely, altcoins down further, okay? So I remain cautious. I still remain bullish into Q4, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that we cannot head down for another leg. It really is probably just going to take one news event or some sort of catalyst to just dump the market, I don't know, 5, 10, 15%. And I think the market is already looking shaky. So I don't think it's going to need a huge catalyst. For example, yesterday, I think Gary Gensler, once again, I think he made a remark about crypto markets will, quote unquote, not end well without regulation. These comments like that in an already shaky environment can be the one thing that puts the nail in the coffin for us to have another move to the downside, right? It's very simple to understand that BTC is already in a downtrend, and all we really need is maybe just another leg down. And once we tap into key levels like that, hopefully around this $38,000 level, okay, maybe from here we bounce back up sometime in October. Seasonality wise, I already explained to y'all, right? Fourth quarters are typically good for BTC and most of crypto, really. So you can see 2020, we ended fourth quarter right here with 168% gain in BTC and a 105% gain in ETH. So this is pretty darn good. But we know for the most part that September seasonality is really not good anyway, right? Across the board, you can see Septembers are quite shitty, okay? And by the looks of September right now, we have maybe, 2 or 3 days left. September for BTC is probably going to close down unless we have some, God candle by, I don't know, by the next 2 days. So right now, BTC is down negative 10% on the month of September. Maybe it trends down further, who knows? On a monthly basis, I already told y'all, we need to keep an eye on this $42,000 level. I'm okay on a weekly basis to tag this 38K level, but I want to swiftly move away from it. Okay. I really, really don't want to spend any time in and around this level. All right. So if you're looking for potential, longing opportunities or buying opportunities, all you have to do is kind of look at the market from this standpoint. Okay. Here's how we had mapped out the market on a 5-day basis. If y'all remember, right, this is very clean accumulation, push up, reaccumulation, push up. Sadly, this is a lower high, but who knows, maybe we're creating a large W-like pattern, in which case sometime in October or November, we start breaking out. All right. Any questions so far? Anything you want me to cover? Okay. So anyway, just wanted to keep the analysis simple. I fully expect most of these altcoins to get dragged down if BTC comes down. And by the looks of what's happening in BTC right now, kind of how it looks right here, it looks like it's probably going to have one more drop to the downside. Again, I'm not fully confident, and this is one of the reasons why I've only put on a hedge. I've not just sold out in cash and calling it quits on the market. That's not what I'm doing at all, right? This is me simply looking at the market and saying something seems wrong, and I'm going to start preparing for whatever may come next, in which case I put on a hedge, see where it goes, and we'll see what happens, in the market. Okay. Bonds are moving up. Yeah, so I did see, let me see. So I told you all yesterday that, I spoke to Austin a little bit, and, he talks about rates moving up a little bit, but for the most part, he said he's not that concerned. He said, for the most part, rates can move all the way to 2%, 2.5%, and it still wouldn't be the most terrible thing for the market. So he believes that maybe a near-term correction might be in order, but from his standpoint, he doesn't think that there's going to be a significant correction. It's not going to be like a multi-week or multi-month. It might be a few days with some few sharp drops. That's his thought process. But yes, the treasury world clearly starting to move back up a little bit. And this probably has, once again, something to do with what's happening in the dollar, right? Dollar ticking up, US equities moving down, risk assets, meaning US equities and crypto, they're being, grinded down simply due to the fact that this is we call it a risk-off environment, meaning big holders of Bitcoin or US equities are probably starting to, sell off some of their positions, maybe due to Q3 ending and we're entering Q4. Maybe they're rotating funds here and there, or maybe simply they're just de-risking, right? Maybe they have too large of a position in Bitcoin or US equities, and that is causing somewhat of a sell-off in the markets. Okay. All right, everybody. That's pretty much it. Remember, I just wanted to explain to y'all, for those of you who are in the advantage side, right? We have still this playlist that you are more than welcome to check out at any point. We started the account at the beginning of the year at $5,000. We ended, was it August, right, at 28.6K. As of yesterday, our account was at 24. So, all in all, in the grand scheme of things, even though we see fluctuations in the market, right, even when we put on these hedges, these are merely meant for protection. And protection so far through the last several months has gotten us, almost a 5x on our entire account. And I'm happy with that. I know people out there can say, hey, I've gotten a 10x or 50x. It doesn't matter, right? It matters how much risk you put on when you start taking on positions. It matters how many sleepless nights you had, how many times you had a massive drawdown in your account, right? If you kind of look across the board, our account almost always has stayed up above a 2x or 3x of our initial capital start. So I'm pretty happy with our progress so far. I expect the next 3 months, the next quarter, to do phenomenally well, and I'm positioned as such. Okay. So again, if you guys have any questions in the advantage side, you can always message me, ask questions about whatever I'm doing in the market. I'm not here to provide financial advice. That is, for your own financial advisor. But that's it. All right. Y'all take care and good luck in the market. Cheers.